Good morning, Kirsten. How are
Good morning.
you?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, I'm having a morning apparently. Still working on my coffee and it hasn't kicked in and just had a total blank about meeting up with you this morning, but I'm so glad we made it. And let's talk about what we have on tap for next week and the following.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have some pretty exciting stuff as far as everything is concerned. But what's the most exciting to me is just talking about what's going on in recruiting right now. I know that we've talked about this a bunch, but obviously yesterday we heard the dead period got extended through January 1st,
Yeah,
which is not, I mean, you go back and forth. On one side, it's making it equal for all athletes across the board, whether or not they can travel or not, or go to different schools. But at the same time, it's at the point where I don't know how these athletes are going to justify committing to schools that they probably have never seen before. That's a really big monetary commitment for a lot of people.
yeah,
To be able to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to commit to the school for however many thousands of dollars, and commitment on the school's part for offering scholarships and such too to students that they don't know if they're definitely 100% committed or not. So I think, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to extend the deadlines for applying or what they're going to do there.
I
But
know. It's really tough. I actually just read Colette Lewis's issue of Zoo Tennis today where she talked about the extended deadline and the impact it's having not only on the student athletes, but as you said, on the schools too and the coaches. And what's going to happen with all these tournaments where coaches normally go to recruit players and now the coaches aren't allowed to be there. And I don't know how our coach is going to be able to watch virtually. And is that allowed, for them if the tournament is live streaming matches? Will that continue to be allowed for coaches to do? But, as you said, they're not going to be able to have contact with the players. I was actually having this conversation with my son last night about, can you imagine being in that situation? You're starting your senior year of high school and you're not allowed to have coaches come watch you play and
yeah,
have these interactions and obviously the official visits are on hold. And how do you make that huge decision as a 17-18 year old?
yeah, and there's like we have virtual tours of schools on our platform, and I know
Sure.
you visit is another one, and you could go to YouTube, and there's a lot of great resources out there, but at the same time, you're still not getting the full vibe of it. I mean, you could
Right.
see it from that perspective, and I think it's a good first step to filter through. Okay, is this a school that I'm interested in? Do I even like the area? Do I like the facilities? Do I like this? Do I like that? On a high level, but to make your decision solely based on that is tough. Um, and I think that there's almost, from the coach's perspective, I feel so bad for coaches right now because they're having to create a whole new dynamic of recruiting, but there's
Hmm.
no like standardized way of doing that. This is all new for everyone. It's new for different sports, and there's no one person or organization saying, okay, this is how we're going to try and set up recruiting moving forward. It's going to be done this way. So I see different schools doing different things, and that's some of the stuff that we are fortunate enough to have talked to some college coaches and players to figure out what's going on specifically with tennis, to see what athletes should be doing now. But I think again, we've talked about this a bunch. For next week, the biggest thing is the role of the parents in the recruiting process,
Yeah.
because they play such a huge role, and they're going to be playing an even bigger role, arguably, right now, trying to help their athletes figure out what's going on. So, I think for our first session that we have going on, which is the role of parents in the recruiting process, it's also the role of the parents in the recruiting process during this new definition of COVID recruiting, which is the reality right now. And then the week after, we have just how to market yourself. And again, this isn't a very COVID specific mentality. It's not old school recruiting. We gotta get that out of our minds. Highlight tapes are, whether or not people in the past have or haven't made them. Everyone's got to make them now. You got to be on Zoom. You got to have a professional background. There's so many different things that you need to be doing right now that are different. But I think the biggest things are, the biggest takeaways for this conversation today are, the next two sessions that we have set up are recruiting process things that we would normally talk about, but we're diving into them COVID specific, which
Yeah.
is unfortunately pushing us through next year.
Yeah, exactly. And I've put the link up to the Eventbrite page to sign up for next Wednesday and the following Wednesday's sessions, and really hoping that we get a good turnout because we're here for the parents. We're here for the prospective student athletes. We want to answer your questions. We want to address the issues that are of concern to you. And the best way for us to do that is by offering these virtual workshops. And so Kirsten and I are really committed to being there for the parents, for the junior players, to help navigate through this crazy, crazy anomaly of a recruiting period. And we don't know how long this is going to go on. So it's really important that everybody keep up to date on what's going on in recruiting. LRT Sports is a great resource for that. Parenting Aces is here for you as well. And we really hope that you'll sign up and join us next Wednesday and the following Wednesday. Our presentations do include time for live Q&A. So again, we are here for you. You can go to the link on the screen right now and get information and purchase your spot, your virtual seat in our workshop. And we'd love to see you there. Kirsten, what am I forgetting?
No, nothing really. I think you said it wonderfully. I mean, I think to your point, if anybody even has questions they want to submit ahead of time, they can reach out to the LRT Sports website or Parenting Aces or any of our social medias because hearing from parents ahead of time is great. And I think the last session that we had a couple weeks ago was fantastic. We had a really great group of parents on there.
Yeah.
And I think it was a good, the Q&A session was fantastic. We had some, current former student athletes that were able to answer questions. So it was really great seeing that and being able to support parents, and we just want to continue doing that. And that's why, originally we had only planned for the one, but the first one went so well, so we decided to extend it into these other topics. So I'm definitely excited about it. We're collecting new information every day. It's funny, I'm like changing the presentation so much already because there's just so much new information that's coming in
Yeah.
on a daily basis. So I'm excited. Hope to see all of you there. And again, if you have any questions, you can reach out to Lisa or myself, and we're happy to answer them.
Perfect. Kirsten, I will see you next Wednesday. To those of you watching, hope to see you next Wednesday as well. And in the meantime, have a great rest of your week. Take care,
Awesome.
everybody.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.